it's SJ, welcome to my kitchen today. It is Baby Name Monday. Every single Monday here on YouTube you'll find a new name list for inspiration and ideas. This one is so gorgeous. This is really truly unique and beautiful names from the very bottom of the UK charts. So if you are about to have a baby, you need to hit subscribe now. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. Do consider sharing this with a friend who you think might enjoy it, and check out the new website sjstrum.co.uk where you'll find tons more. There's podcasts, there's Pinterest, there's a store, there's a download. I've literally put tons of stuff in there, and I really do sign up for my mailing list. That's what I was going to tell you most, because I'm going to start sending out some inside scoop emails. So this list is taken from the very bottom of the least popular or the least often registered girl names, and I will be doing the boy version very soon, either as a bonus this week or next Monday. So every single year the Office of National Statistics register all the babies. At the end of the year they add them all up, and we hear the most least common ones as well as Olivia, Amelia, Isla, right at the top. So at the bottom you mainly get what people call unique, but it's really just a weird spelling of an everyday name, all double barrel, so where people hyphenate a name. So I'm SJ, I'm Sarah Jane. So the bad ones that I found, have to start with some clangers. Sultana, I guess they say Sultana, but there were 3 baby girls named Sultana last year, like the little raisin. Found that really weird. Starlet. What do you think of being called Starlet? To me it feels a tiny bit negative, like a starlet's a little bit negative, but maybe I'm just thinking it as more like kind of being called like Z-list or something, whereas actually it's similar to Scarlet. Quite nice maybe. Phoenix, spelt wrong, so Pheonix. There were 3 baby girls, and I don't know if that's because the parents wanted a unique name, or they had it wrong, or the registrar had it wrong. So yeah, I was thinking maybe I can get a job as like a baby name registrar. I would absolutely love it. I literally googled that this morning. But I think you have to have like, you know, you have to work for the, you have to be a full-time civil servant, I think. I can't just rock up to the baby name bit. And then Nevaeh, spelt like this on screen, so Naveeah, which is probably more phonetic for Nevaeh, but the whole point of the name Nevaeh is that it's heaven spelt backwards. So again, whether or not somebody just didn't realise that was kind of the point of the name, or they just preferred this spelling, but I found those ones were the sort of ones that stood out to me. That was a bit like, oh no, wish I'd have been there in the room to help. But then I also found the gems as well. And what I think of the gems, my personal favourites. So the first one that I wrote down is Avril. So it's a really beautiful name. There were 4 babies named Avril, 4 baby girls last year. So it's actually a rare Hebrew name. It means God is my help. And it came up mostly for girls. I read a lot of forums because there's not so much information about this list. Lots of girls named Avril, and lots of people really like their name. The couple of things that came up is pronunciation. So when you have a less common name, Avril, so she was saying they were like Asriel and things like that, or not quite getting it perfect. The other thing that came up a lot is misspelling of it, so Azrael, which is quite different, and that is actually the name of the cat in Smurfs. Which I didn't know, but came up again in my search. I didn't know that about the cat from Smurfs. Azrael, and people were like, that's quite different to Azriel. But I actually really like Azriel. I feel like it's got Audrey vibes, it's obviously got Ariel vibes, but feels a little bit different, and I quite like names with a Z in it. So what do you think of Azriel? Is it wearable or not? Let me know in the comments below. Dove was also ranked. There were 4 baby girls named Dove last year. So some of these are quite word names as well down at the bottom where people are starting to pick them up. But with Wren being really popular now, what do you think of Dove? I personally think it's so pretty on paper. I love the symbolism of a dove. It's obviously quite a religious symbol as well, but globally kind of a symbol for peace in nature and harmony, which feels really right for this zeitgeist time of life. So it's really interesting when there's a little actress called Dove who's just come out, so she might make it a little bit more common. But what do you think? Is it just too out there for you? Another name right at the bottom of the chart, which I'm surprised about, only 4 baby girls were named Juliette last year, and I know so many people love Juliette, and it's just interesting that Juliette with the A, considering we love all those A endings of names, is right down there, and it also opens up that nice nickname of Etta, which is quite vintage. I think Juliette sounds really beautiful, and it's quite nice to know it's less common. Like with my daughter Avril, I feel like it does separate her a little bit from all the Evs and Avas because she's got a little difference at the end there. So Julietta, same meaning as Juliette, where it means youthful, and I just think it's really lovely. I know that Juliette is one that is set to rise soon. It is on a lot of lists. So if you're thinking Juliette and you're thinking, is it about to get popular, maybe go Julietta. A name that I love personally, I'm fascinated what you guys think of it, is the name Tansy. Right down at the bottom, a really rare floral name. It is a plant name, and a few sort of love like poppy, and then there's pansy. I feel like tansy is even more wearable. Oh, the sun's come out. Sun always comes out exactly when I start filming these videos, I swear. So there were only 4 babies named Tansy last year, and it's a flower with yellow blossoms, and it's a really vintage vibes to me because it's the name of the flower fairy, and I'm sure I had this picture like up in my room or something like that. And I've even got the little vintage doll of a flower fairy, which is the Tansy. And I just think it's really gorgeous, very, very pretty, so easy to write and spell. If you're looking for something beyond lily, beyond rose, beyond poppy, Tansy isn't too out there. There's nothing I don't like about it, but let me know what you think. Next up is the name Eina. So this is mainly a Scandinavian name, Eina, and it's so perfect, blending of like Isla and all those names at the top, Amelia. So lovely, but it's quite an unusual spelling, Eina. I knew a woman called Eina, another mum at my school, and I really loved her name. She was Norwegian actually, but it's got loads of use all around the world. So the most common the most common meaning for Ida is around like always and forever. So kind of like eternity, which again is like a stunning meaning for this gorgeous name that's right languishing down the bottom of the charts. Only 3 baby Einas last year. But then in Japan, it's got 2 words, so Ein, which means love and affection. And apparently, let me know if this is right, the na bit, the end bit means like vegetables. So I loved that because I love vegetables, I'm a vegetarian. So if you had a vegetarian, earthy baby Eina, they love their vegetables, they love their greens, they're going to be very healthy. I just think it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous name meaning, and it's unusual, but you only need to hear it a couple of times. It invites a second glance, is how I would say, and it does mean mirror in some places, so it's a really interesting one. Also right down the bottom with only 3 is the name Avril. So I recently put this on our Instagram, which is baby name Envy, as a good spring name, a good Easter name, because Avril is French for April. This name had tons and tons of debate on forums. Loads of people associate it with the singer Avril Lavigne, and that's just like the #1 thing that was coming out. But lots of French people, obviously with it being a French name, were saying it didn't sound like a name because it was a word name. But then you think about people are called April, June, you know, January even. We do use word names as names maybe more commonly in the UK, maybe in the US than they do in France. I don't know, let me know. But then other people on the forum are saying, well, I'm French, and actually it's been a really in-use French name quite historically from like the 1700s. So there's lots of passion around the name Avril, I would say. And also the pronunciation, is it Avril? Is it Avril? But I just think Avril, I really am into it, and I think I'm here for it. If I was a proper YouTuber, I would say I'm here for that. Because I think that it's got the V that we all are obsessed with, but it's really unique. Finlay for a girl. There were only 3 baby girls named Finlay last year, and I see it on so many lists of people really liking Finlay for a girl. Lots of debate again online, on forums. So we did a dilemma recently on the podcast for a sister, for Forest and Finlay being the girl, Forest being the boy, then they were having a third. I loved that one, but I've got a little boy named Finn. My husband did really like Finlay and preferred it, but I didn't. I just wanted a short, sweet name for him, particularly wanted Finn. And I do think Finlay works for a girl. It probably could be, I didn't check, higher up with the Leigh ending, but if I was going to go Finlay for a girl, I would use this spelling, just the traditional spelling, and it works really well. So that was kind of where the debate was coming from. Some people were saying it felt too feminine for a boy, too masculine for a girl. So it sort of fell between this hard place for some people. It's a Scottish name, and it means fair-haired hero, which is one of the reasons I loved it for my little boy, because we're all blonde and he'd be fair. And I just thought it was a really cute little name meaning for our family. So yes, a lot of people then saying, well, that makes it masculine. But then a lot of people saying, well, why can't a girl be a fair-haired hero? There was a debate going on, guys, a big debate. One name I wanted to share with you, I just thought it was so unusual, I'd not seen it before. There were 3 baby girls named Goodness last year. So what do you think of that, Goodness? So almost a virtue name, like obviously charity and blessing and all of those bliss coming through a lot, but I've not heard Goodness as a first name registered, so really pretty. You could be Nessie, then I just always think of, oh my goodness, like sort of a shock. But yeah, interesting. A couple of colour names there were 3 baby girls, so 3 named Gold by itself, and that is coming up a lot. Goldie, more than gold, but you guys, we talk about it quite a lot here, and I'm wondering about these colour names coming back in fashion. There's a whole master list of colour names, again on the Instagram, one of the highlights, but gold, 3 babies were named Gold last year. Obviously it's a precious stone. It has actually been in use for a very long time as a surname, so it would have been for people who worked maybe in gold mining or worked with money in general, but it's an interesting one that's now coming through as a first name. Do you love it or not like it? In comparison to the next one, there were 3 baby girls named Gray last year. What was interesting with the name Gray is it's become quite a popular name for boys with Gray and Grayson, but some people were saying that with the EY for girls and the AY for boys, which I thought was really fascinating, because we're sort of making a feminine and a masculine version of what is a word, really. So the grey colour. I really love this name. As you know, if you do follow my channel, I had it on my middle name spot. So I was thinking if you have like a Charlotte Gray or Amelia Gray, it adds much more interest than just using Rose in the middle, Rose being one of our most popular, or even May, because Gray obviously rhymes with May, didn't know that. So it really works to edge it up a little bit. So I'm pretty in love with it as a middle. Lots of people really liking it. Some people are saying it just felt, for them, grey. It depends what your association with grey is. Like if you think grey is a lovely muted colour for your home and you really like that palette. Some people are saying they found it quite negative, like a grey day, it's a little bit moody. And somebody also said that they found it a bit insulting for older people. Like if you were an old lady and then you went grey, or particularly for a man, they go grey a bit younger and you were called grey. Would that be a thing to think about, using this word for boy or girl actually? And I was like, oh yeah, never thought about that. But for me, I think it's really great. And I think it will start rising, because it's going to start in the middle and it will flip to the front. Might not be for a few more years, but I would go with it. Junie was right down the bottom with only 3 babies called Junie. And that's unusual. So obviously it's June is sort of an old-fashioned name. So Junie to me, Juno came back, but Junie, I really like it. It's a bit of a playful name. It's a nickname as first name with the IE ending. But funny to see, if you like those IE nickname names, those are like the top rising names from last year. Everything was an IE in the top 100. Then Junie is one that's languishing still at the bottom. It is named after the month of June, which was named after the goddess Juno. So quite a lot of reasons to like Junie. Liesel, there were only 3 Liesels last year, spelled like this, which isn't actually the way I don't think the Liesel is spelled from The Sound of Music. But interestingly, this name has never really come up into fashion, but I'm hearing a lot of more German names and Germanic names like this coming through, and we love L's, so I'm surprised that Liesel, it might be again because it looks a bit like Liesel and maybe we find it hard, but with a Liza coming in. What do you guys think with Liesel? What's going on? Why is it so down there? It's a Hebrew name, can also be a short form for Elizabeth, if you wanted to. Actually, in real life, Liesel, the oldest daughter in the Von Trapp family, was actually Agatha, or Agatha, now you'd say it in Swiss, but yes, Agatha. So they changed all the children's names actually, and Maria was only there to look after one little child, not all of them. But if you want a history on The Sound of Music, just ask, because I'm obsessed. I've read every single book about Sound of Music. So, but I wouldn't have gone with Liesel myself. maybe because I am so obsessed with The Sound of Music, it was a bit too much, because I was literally obsessed. Marisol is only got 3 babies called Marisol, and this was a bit of an uproar on the forums because people can't believe it's so underused, and that actual word coming through, it seems like a beautiful name, universally liked, very Barbie-esque, I know, very, very girly girl, but it's a mixture of the sea and the sun, Mary and Sol. Also quite a religious name. Apparently Mary, Jesus's mum, was named Mary in Solitude, and that also is one variation of Marisol that people take it to mean. And some people don't like it because it sounds like parasol, things like that, but I really like it. I think it's so pretty, so unique, but right down at the bottom there, I didn't realise it was so far down. Romana is also, there were only 3 babies called Romana, and I was thinking about this one because of Roman. So Roman has come back with a bang for boys. Everyone loves the name Roman at the moment, really popularly rising. So Romana, obviously being a more feminine version of, I thought some of you might really like it. It's got Anna as the ending, Romy, Roman for a girl would be super trendy. So it could suddenly be an outside contender for you. There were only 3 babies called Romana last year. Lots of people take it as well as the word romantic, so associations with that, so quite feminine in that way with the sort of tomboyish Rom or Roman as a nickname. So that's a really interesting one. There was a Doctor Who companion called Romana, if you're a Doctor Who fan. Lots of people want to bring their passions into their names. I get a lot of Winnie the Pooh name, or Harry Potter names, obviously the massive one. So you could be a Doctor Who fan and have Romana as a nod to that. Rosabelle was only 3 babies named Rosabelle last year, and just the B-E-L ending, not L-L-E, and particularly that was what people had picked up and that they liked about this name, was that it was just B-E-L and not L-L-E, funnily enough. So you know how Isabel, you can spell it I-S-O-B-E-L, and some people just prefer it. Rosabelle was getting a lot of love, but only 3 baby girls named Rosabelle. Lots of people saying they found it was a very classy and sophisticated look as a name. So yeah, interesting that that's right down there. But I found this one really funny. These are all T ones now, randomly my top 4. Must have got to T on the alphabet. Teal. So when we were talking about colour names, teal, there were 3 baby girls named Teal last year. I just found that so fascinating because just to me, because Evelina, funnily enough, my daughter, she's 4, when she does her colours, when she gets to blue, she'll say teal. Oh hello, just talking about you. Do you like the colour teal? Yeah. But interesting to see it getting used so much. It sort of rhymes with Neil, maybe that's why it seems wearable. Am I stretching? But I just had to put it in there because it was just funny that because of her. Last one is a name I particularly like, but I feel is controversial as an underused name, and it's the name Tuppence. So I've mentioned this before, I can't remember what video it was on, it might have been Rare Names A to Z, and I really like it. So there's a new actress out at the moment whose name is Tuppence, so it's getting a lot of chatter and lots of love. Very vintage because it means 2 pence. So it's basically an old vintage money name, which with like Ottilie and all those kind of money names coming through, wealth names, Tuppence seems so perfect. So the only problem with Tuppence is some people see it as a nickname for something a little bit private of a woman. So a bit like you imagine Willie as a name for a boy. Some people know as a nickname Tuppence. So I don't, that's why I like it. So yeah, check the slang is very important when picking a name. Right, has this Easter holiday filming been a success or not? Everyone's come in. It's like Clapham Junction in here. Right, this is Evelina Blossoms over and out. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Say bye to the sunshine. The sun's come out. We can go and play in the garden. Hope you guys...
That now has gone.
The snow has gone. It was snowing this morning where we are. Right, bye guys, lots of love. I would love for you to let me know what you think is the favourite from this list in the comment section below, because then we'll have like a top name that is languishing and we can release that. So do let me know your one favourite below and also what you think of all of the names. If you're desperate for more Baby M inspiration, the podcast went up yesterday, the brand new one. I'd love for you to go and have a listen, rate and review us over there, and we'll see you on our next video. Bye guys.